Hello, everybody. So today we will be continuing with the module 5 of Java J2E ISC 641 subject code. So in the introduction of to this module, we have basically discussed what do we mean by servlets and JSPs, and we have seen the architecture, the web architecture, which is prevalent in the market related to the servlets and JSP incorporating the MVC architecture. We also saw about HTTP protocol. How does the request and the response works? What is meant by the get method and the post method? So continuing with it. So today we will basically go in depth about the servlets. So in the previous class, we have seen what are the different types of servlets which are basically available. So provided by the Java APIs. So different categories are there. One is the generic servlets. Generic servlets are generally used when we are not dealing with the HTTP protocol. But when we want to work with any other protocol, okay, like FTP or any other protocol, when you want to incorporate the servlets, we go ahead and use the generic servlets. The second one is the HTTP servlets, the servlets that can work only with the HTTP protocol, and it is one of the most commonly used for developing the web applications. So let's see the servlet lifecycle. So the servlet lifecycle has three important steps. The first one is init, service, and destroy. So what do we mean by the life cycle? The most important question, what do we mean by life cycle? So any software has to go through a set of steps starting from its starting, okay, when it basically is assigned certain amount of memory, and then it starts the execution flow, and finally when its specific task is done, it has to be destroyed or it has to be killed. So same way, even for the servlet lifecycle also, it goes through three important steps. So the first one is init. Okay, so as I said, the init method should be there inside the servlet, so that if you want to do any kind of initialization task, let us assume the initialization, when I say, is related to the database. You want to basically make a connection to the database. Okay, so that initialization code should basically come to the init part. You want to make a network connection, so you want to open a socket. That piece of code which does the establishment of the network socket programming should come in the init part. You want to basically open a file and read. Okay, so the file opening, handling, and all should come in the init part. Let us assume that you want to send an email, so you want to establish a connection with the SMTP server. Such kind of initialization code will come in the init part. Very important to say, the init gets executed only once during the entire life cycle of a servlet. I repeat, the init is executed only once during the entire life cycle of the servlet. Okay. Now comes the second and the most important method, which is called as the service method. The service method, the code that executes for every request which is made by the client, should be written inside the service method. I repeat, let us assume that the client wants to register. It wants to do a registration form. Okay. So what is the logic written to handle that registration request should be written inside the service method. So it identifies the type of the request which is coming, and it forwards that to either get or post the specific method. I repeat, it identifies the request type and it basically forwards it to either get or post specific method. So the request is coming from the client, it comes to the service method. After that, depending upon the type of the request, it can either be forwarded to a get method or to a particular post method. So you will think, where are we writing this get method or a post method? So it will be written inside your client, okay, HTML code, which is rendered on the browser. You will have the option to specify what does the form exactly has to do, whether it wants the get method or it basically wants to do the post method. So service gets executed as long as the request is coming from the client. I repeat, unlike the init, which executes only once during the entire life cycle of a servlet, the service method gets executed repeatedly as long as the client is sending the request. The third method, okay, is called as the destroy method. The code that runs, okay, while destroying a servlet is written inside the destroy method. So while closing a servlet, suppose if you want to close a specific database connection, you want to close a file or a particular socket you want to close or an SMTP server you want to basically shut down, all that logic cleanup code you have to write within the destroy method. Like the init method, this also runs only once in the entire life cycle of a servlet. So the most important takeaway from this topic is init method and destroy method. These two methods are executed only once during the entire life cycle of a particular servlet. Service method, however, gets executed repeatedly depending upon how many requests are basically coming from the client, and it redirects it or sends it the request further for processing to the get and the post method. Very important question from the exam perspective also and knowledge wise as well. So as I said, inside the service method, you can basically forward the request to two different methods. One is do get and the other one is do post. So if the client is requesting for a get method, then you can basically forward the request to the do get method. If the client is requesting for a post method, then the method which handles the request of post type should be written inside the method called as do post. So to repeat once again, the life cycle of a servlet, there are three things: init, service, and destroy. The first step that we do is the user basically enters a particular URL on the web browser. Let us assume that I have typed New Horizon, www.newhorizonindia.edu. So this is the website name that I basically have typed. Okay, so that basically forms the URL. Now the browser generates an HTTP request, okay, for this particular URL and sends that request to the server. So this server is specifically running the software and listening to the request which is coming to the college website. Now the HTTP request is received from by the web server. This server will basically map it to a particular servlet. So it's not like only one servlet should be there. There can be n number of servlets depending upon how many logic or requirements you are basically having. For example, let us take our college, New Horizon College, Engineering College website. If we take, you can have different servlets to handle the different queries for each department. So for example, Information Science and Engineering department, to handle the queries related to the ISE, you can have a separate servlet. For CSE, you can have a separate servlet. For mechanical, you can have a separate servlet. So these servlets are basically mapped to the particular request which is coming from the client. Now, depending upon what request has come from the client, the servlet is dynamically retrieved and loaded into the address space of the server. I repeat, it is loaded into the address space of the server. Okay, so these are the steps which are basically being done. Once it is loaded into the address space of the server, the first step as we studied is the init method. So it will basically go through the init method, okay, of the servlet. So any initializations if you are having, it will basically perform. Then pertaining to your specific request, okay, the method will basically invoke the service method. Inside the service method, if you want the request specifically to be processed by a get method or a post method, then you can invoke the methods, the two methods, either a get method or you can basically invoke a post method. The servlet remains in its address space and is available for processing any HTTP request. Okay, the service method is called for each and every HTTP request. Once that is done, the last thing it has to do is the servlet should be unloaded from the memory. When I say unloaded, it means that it should be removed from the memory. So while removing it from the memory, it will basically go through the method which is called as the destroy method. Okay, so let's see a quick example, okay, of a small program related to generic servlets. I'll explain in detail. Please pay attention. So you can see here, it's a Java code and the name of the file is given as lifecycle.java. So as we studied in the previous topics also, every file should end with the name .java so that the Java compiler can understand that it's a Java code being written. We use the import statements to import all the inbuilt libraries, okay, or packages which are available and already written by the Java development environment, JDK, it is available. So the first thing is Java X.servlet. So all the packages or all the methods, all the interfaces, okay, which are required for the servlet processing, okay, are written inside the Java X.servlet. So you can see here, we have written Java X.servlet.star followed by semicolon. With that, anything which is required for servlet programming will basically be available. Next, you can see I have written java.io. IO stands for input output. So if you want to send any request or any response, you need some input output channels, correct? We already studied in our core Java programming. If you want to print something on the UI, you will use system.out.println, correct? If you want to read something from the keyboard, you will use a scanner channel. So these are some input output channels through which you are taking the inputs from the user and giving back the response. Here, we cannot use the standard system.out.println. Why? Why do you think we cannot use the system.out.println? Because this program is getting executed on the server, which is on a remote machine. So when you want to send the response, it is sent to the client, which may be on some other machine. So imagine that if I have two laptops, on one laptop, my servlet is running. The response of that particular servlet should reach to the web browser, okay, of the first laptop. So it has to go through the internet, okay, and it has to reach. It's not like a small desktop application that you are writing. It is the server side programming. So now you have to open a channel between the two computers over the internet, which will transfer the data from one computer to another. Same way, the request should come from the client to the server. Hence, we need the package called as java.io. Okay. Now, public class lifecycle. So this class is made public so that it can basically accessed by any other classes if it is required, and it is available to the JVM for execution. You can see here nowhere we will have public static void main, because it is not the normal desktop programming which we are basically doing here. Here we are doing the servlet programming. So here you can see the class lifecycle extends from generic servlet. So generic servlet, as we studied, there are two types of servlets. One is generic servlet and the other one is the HTTP servlet. So this program deals with generic servlet. So it extends from generic servlet. That means any properties which are present inside the class generic servlet, that gets extended to the lifecycle servlet through inheritance, because you can see here we have used the keyword called as extends. Now, this generic servlet, if you open the code inside your JDK package, you can see that it will have the three methods called as init method, service method, and the last one, which is the destroy method. So now you are giving your own implementation to the three methods. You are overriding it and giving your own implementation. Very important. Now comes the role of your server, web server. So in this case, we are using Apache Tomcat server. So the Apache Tomcat server will have a specific software which is called as the web container. I repeat, the Apache Tomcat server, it is also a software, right, which is written by the Apache people. It will have a small component which is called as the web container, which is a small module inside it. It is a responsibility of the web container to basically invoke the init method. Okay, so the JVM which is running inside the web container of the Tomcat server will invoke the init method, will call the init method. The init method takes a parameter which is called as the servlet config. We will see what is this servlet config, and the name of its object is written as config. So all the configuration related data of the servlet will be provided inside the servlet config. Now we are writing system.out.println. That means it has to print init. That means the servlet is in which method? It is inside the init method. Where it will get printed? Inside the servlet program. So the same program will, when it gets executed, it will print init method. After init, the next method to be called is the service method. As we saw, service method has got two parameters. One is the request method and the other one is the response method. So servlet request is an interface, okay, which is dealing with all kinds of requests which is coming from the client to the server. I repeat, servlet request is an interface which will basically have the methods related to the request handling which is coming from the client to the servlet. Servlet response deals from the server to the client. I repeat, servlet response deals from server to the client, and it can throw two kinds of exceptions, servlet exception or IO exception. Now if you see, I have written here system.out.println. Okay, it shows from server, and then we have print writer out is equal to response dot get writer. So please observe here. Now the service is basically starting, is taking a request and it is constructing a response and sending back to the client. So as I said, two computers, one is the client and one is the server. On the server side, you are executing this program. It is going to open a channel. How? It will take the response object, okay. Using the response object, it will open a channel using the method called as get writer. This channel will be of the type print writer. This is an input output channel of print writer type class, and it has the object name which is called as out. So using the response object, you are opening a writer channel because I want to write it to the client, not read. I want to write it. So I will use the method get writer and I will get an object of the print writer type. Now, using that print writer type object that I got, which is out, I will be using the method println. Using println, we can basically get out.println you are in service. That means it is basically printing that you are in service. So tell me where this message will get printed. It will print on the computer number 1. So I have two computers. This is the client and this is the server. On the server, it will execute the init method and it will print init. After that, it will print that from service. And then it is opening a channel between the two, and from the server it goes back to the client and it prints you are in service. So this particular string statement you are in service will not be printed on the server. It will be printed on the web browser of the client. Okay, and then comes the last method which is called as destroy. Under this we will be printing the message system.out.println destroy, which will be printed on the server side. So if you execute this program, you can see that first you have the init method, okay, which will be printed because I am printing their system.out.println init. Inside which method I am printing it? Inside the init method I am basically printing it. Okay, so that will basically get printed over there. Then second thing is from the serve. service, from service. That is also system.out.println. So on the same Tomcat machine, okay, where the server is running, you will see the message from service. Okay. Now on the client side, if you see here, very important, please understand, on the client side, you can see it is written HTTP local host. That means where is the server running? On the same machine where the client is running is the server. The port number is 8080. Life cycle is the name of the project. Okay. And inside that, the servlet name is equal to life. So when you make a request, this request is going to the server. It is invoking the init method. So the init output will come. It will invoke the service method. So the service output related to system.out.println will come there. However, what you want to print using the print writer will come here on the client side. So can you see on the browser, it will show you the message, you are in the service. This is not getting printed on the server, but it is getting printed on the client side. Okay. And last, when it basically stops the execution, when you try to close the Tomcat server, it will execute the destroy method and it will print the message called as destroy. Now, very important to understand this particular URL. So please try to understand here. We are using, okay, http://. Why did I write here localhost? If I am not using my local machine as the server, then you have to specify the IP address of the machine where the server is running. So as I told, if there are two computers, the computer number two's IP address should be written here, http:// IP address of the computer 2, which is the server. You have to specify colon 8080 is the port number where this particular servlet is basically running, followed by the name of the class, life cycle, and the servlet name, which is equal to life. So this is the URL which is basically getting executed. Is it clear? Okay. Now moving forward, as I told, there are two main packages that you can import. One is javax.servlet. The other one is more specific to HTTP, which is javax.servlet.http. If you are using any servlet programming, you have to make sure that you are importing both these two packages. One is javax.servlet and the other one is javax.servlet.http. Both of them constitute the servlet API. Any servlet should extend either generic servlet or it should basically extend the HTTP servlet. So these are some of the interfaces which are basically present inside the javax.servlet package. So as the first thing, servlet interface, it declares the life cycle. That means init, service, and destroy. These three methods will be present inside the interface called as service. The init method takes the object of servlet config type. It allows the servlet to get the initialization parameters. Servlet context is another interface which enables the servlet to log any kinds of events and access the informations about the environment. Servlet request and response, these two are the attributes of or the parameters of the service method. It is, as the name says, request, it reads the data from the client. Response, it writes the data to the client. And then it is related to the thread model. Same way, the classes which are present to javax.servlet is servlet input string, servlet output string, and generic servlet, which implements the servlet interface and the servlet config. So it's very easy. Go ahead and just extend the class generic servlet, or you can extend the HTTP servlet. Any these two classes, if you basically extend, then it is as good as implementing the servlet method and the servlet config. Okay. As I said, the servlet interface contains init, service, and the destroy method. Okay. So these are the three methods which are important. So to see the signature of these methods, you can see init takes the parameter called as the servlet config. It is called when the servlet is initialized. Initialization parameters of the servlets can be obtained from the object of servlet config type. If the servlet is not initialized, then it throws an exception called as unavailable exception. Service method is called to process a request from the client. The request from the client is read using the object of servlet request. The response using the object called as servlet response. It also throws the IO problem or IO exception. Okay, so now I would like to explain a simple hello world program in the servlets. Okay, so to do that, I'll share my Eclipse. So I have used Eclipse and I have already downloaded the Tomcat server. As I said, go to the official website of the Apache Tomcat server, and under the download button, whichever is the latest one compatible with your JDK, please download it. It will be just a simple zip file. You can unzip and keep it in a specific folder. Okay, so I would like to show you. Yeah, so if you can see here, under D folder software, we have the folder called as Apache Tomcat, okay, which is unzipped. So you can see it has a bin, config, lib, log, temp, web app, and work. These are the different subfolders which are present inside the Apache Tomcat folder. Okay, it's just a simple zip file that you can basically download, and you have to just unzip and keep at a specific position on your system, specific folder in your system. Okay, now the first step here, what we do here is, before I create a hello world program and show you how does it exactly work, the first step that we do here is to create a dynamic web project. Okay, we create something called as a dynamic web project. So go here and create new. Under the new, you can basically see we have project. Under project, you can go to the folder called as web. Under web, you have something called as the dynamic web project. Go to next, give a name for this dynamic web project. Okay. And now you have to configure your target runtime. When I say target runtime, it means on which particular server are you planning to run this particular application or web project you are planning to deploy. So you have to create a new runtime. So go ahead and click on the new runtime. If you have downloaded and unzipped the Apache Tomcat, the Eclipse will give you the support for all these web servers. As I said, Apache will have Apache Tomcat different versions. Okay, IBM, you will have IBM WebSphere servers support, JBoss server support. Okay, same way Oracle OC4J support. Okay, Object Web support. These are different servers which are available in the market and many more. So since ours is a simple Apache Tomcat, I will go ahead and take the latest one and I will click on create new local server. I repeat, very important. You have to make sure that you create an instance of the server on the Eclipse. So click on create new local server. Okay. Once that is done, press the next button and now you have to tell where is your Tomcat install directory. So go here and browse and tell where it is basically telling. For example, I have installed it under the software folder, Apache Tomcat till the bin folder. You have to go ahead and click and give an OK. After this, give finish, give next, next, Now it will tell what is the context root of your servlet, and you have to tell to create the deployment descriptor. What do we mean by deployment descriptor? The deployment descriptor is basically a file. As the name says .xml, it's a simple XML file which will have all the data which is required by the Apache Tomcat web container, and it is help to deploy that particular project on the web server. So it will have which is the welcome page or the home page of your application, what is the name of your servlet, any other JSPs if you basically need, any other configurations if you want, all that informations you will write it inside the web.xml, which is called as the deployment descriptor. As the name says, it is a descriptor file which will help in the deployment process, which is read by the web container, in this case by the Apache web container, and it will help to deploy this particular servlet. Once this is done, all you have to do is to just click the finish button. That's all. Press the finish button. I am not doing that because for me already the Hello Servlet project is created. So once it is done, you can see that you will basically have Hello Servlet folder. Now, if you expand this particular folder, you will see so many things got created. Okay, so you can see here the deployment descriptor, hello.servlet, okay, and so many things which we should not be worried now. Then comes the Java resources. Under that, we have a folder called as SRC. Under web content, we will have a folder, okay, which is meta-inf, and the other one is the webinf. Under webinf, if you go, you will have web.xml. Double click and see what is inside the web.xml. If you see the web.xml which is used here, okay, it is basically showing something called as index.html, index.htm, index.jsp. So this welcome file list is actually if you have any kind of welcome page for your project, that particular welcome HTML should be given here. In this example, since it's a Hello World program, I am not including any kind of HTML pages. So I don't need it at all. So I can remove this since I don't have any kind of welcome pages to basically start off. So you can delete it completely. So your web.xml is almost empty. That's all. Now, under your SRC folder, okay, you can create a package. I have created the package com.nhc. Under this, right click and create a new servlet. Can you see the option new servlet? So when you give the new servlet, it will ask the name of the servlet. Let us assume that I give the name of the servlet as hello one. I've already created the servlet. So for the time being, I am writing hello one. Give next. It will ask what is the in the URL, what name you want to give. Okay, I will give it as hello one, and you have to give next. Okay, and it will ask which method do you want to basically implement. Okay, so I want to only implement the service method, init method, and the destroy method, and give a finish button. I'm not doing the finish because I have already created the servlet. The name of my servlet is hello.java. So this code will be automatically generated for you. So you can see here, I have written public class hello extends HTTP servlet. So we have seen that either we can have HTTP servlet or generic servlet for extending. We are extending HTTP servlet. This is a constructor which does not do much. It calls the super. What does the super do? What does the super method do? It basically calls the constructor of the parent class. Now comes the service method. We have two parameters. One is HTTP servlet request. Okay, the other one is HTTP servlet response. As I said, the request object is coming from the client to the server. Response is going back from the server to the client. Now, create an object of print writer type. Why? Because you want to print something back to the client. So using the response object, you will call the method getWriter and you will get an object of the print writer. Using that, you can write object dot write. So where are you writing? You are writing it on a print channel, which is going as a response to the client. And I have written a string message here. Welcome to the servlet class in NHCE ISC 41 course. Okay. So once this is done, I am basically saving it. Now I have to right click on this and go and do run on server. It will ask to restart the server. We will basically restart the server. It will basically run. You can see it will basically run and it will show you. And after that, it will basically I'll share the output. You can see here after running, it basically shows, hello, welcome to servlet class NHCE ISC 641. So you can see that what is the IP address that I have written or what is the URL that I have written here, localhost, because in this case, both the client and the server are there on the same machine. Okay. Hence it is localhost because my same system is the client and the server. Port number, standard port number is 8080, but you can change and you can basically put it to other port numbers also. I wantedly change the port number here to make you understand that 8080 is the standard port number, but you can still change it to any other port number. And then hello servlet is the name of the project and hello is the name of the servlet. So once the request is done, it will go to the request is going to the server. So from one computer to another computer, the request is going. It will go to the service method. It will create an object of the print writer and inside the print writer, we will write hello, welcome to the servlet class NHCE ISC 641. Okay. So you understood a simple hello world program, how to do it. Okay. So it's very simple servlet programming. So as I said, go ahead and create a servlet. Inside the servlet, implement the service method. The service method will basically help you to take the request from the server, execute it and show you basically the output of the concerned logic that you have written inside the service method. Okay. So is it clear what I am telling? I repeat, first step what we have done is go ahead and download the Apache Tomcat server from the official website. You can download, it's a simple zip file, double click and unzip and keep it inside a folder. After that, go ahead and create a new dynamic web project. Go to file, new dynamic web project. You have to basically create. Under the dynamic web project, you need to specify which is your runtime environment and where is your Apache Tomcat installed. Once that is done, create a local server. So that local server is what you are basically seeing here. Under the servers tab, you can see many servers which are running. Those are basically the servers which are being used. In this case, I have used Tomcat localhost 3. 3 instances were there. I deleted the first two. This is the Tomcat server. Now, under the project Hello Servlet, you can see different types of deployment descriptor folder. Under the web content, we have web.xml, okay, where you can tell which are the welcome pages. Under Java resource, you will have the servlet hello.java. You can see that here it is annotated as web server /hello. That's why in the URL also we will write the project name hello servlet /hello. So first the init method, no init method in this case, so it calls the init method from HTTP servlet. Then it will call the service method. As a part of the service method, it will open a channel and it will print this particular message. That's why when you basically run this particular application, you will basically get the output as HTTP welcome to servlet class NHC ISE 641. This is the output that you will be basically getting. Okay, I hope I have made you understand how to do the Hello World program. Okay, so you can basically try out on your systems. Okay, and then in the next class, we will be basically studying about how the servlet request and the response can be handled, okay, using the forms. In the next class, we will be going through it in more detail. Thank you.